Narcissists like to keep a certain number of people in their orbit. And what I mean by that is they always like to have at least a few people, maybe two, three, four, possibly more, who find themselves kind of attached and dependent on the narcissist for whatever reason. Even if the narcissist doesn't regularly supply them with anything useful, these people still find themselves somehow attached to the narcissist. Basically, basically being part of their orbit, their gravitational pull. And just some examples, maybe in a friendship circle, there's one or two people who are strangely fond of the narcissist and who are always kind of chasing the narcissist for attention or just ready to do whatever the narcissist wishes. If they snap their fingers to do something, those people would be willing to do that. Like that kind of dynamic. Similarly, it could be in a family, could be at work. And in addition to those people who'd like to have in the orbit, obviously they like to have their main supply, which is often someone in a romantic type relationship, or it could also be a family member as the main supply. But narcissists typically like to have this kind of main supply, but in addition to that, they like to have certain people who are regularly in their orbit that they can call upon for whatever they may need those people for. And what the narcissist does with these people that kind of tend to be within their orbit, or at least that's kind of how the narcissist sees it, is, maybe one of those people the narcissist likes because that person gives them a particular type of attention or is willing to listen to them whenever they have a complaint or need to share a sob story. Maybe another person who's in their orbit is someone who is very fond of the narcissist, maybe looks up to them very highly, and that person maybe gives the narcissist a unique form of adoration, and the narcissist finds that valuable. And then thirdly, there could be somebody else in the orbit who's naive and who may have codependent traits or specific traits, which mean that they're willing to do anything that the narcissist wants, whenever the narcissist wishes. So these people who tend to kind of orbit the narcissist, and it doesn't necessarily mean they deal with the people on a day-to-day basis. It could be that they do, but it could be that these people, the narcissist naturally feels that they have a certain attachment towards the narcissist, and the narcissist uses that to their advantage. And the way this happens is that not everybody is the right profile to catch on to the narcissist, in a sense of getting sucked into their gravitational pull. But people who have kind of certain maybe codependent traits, or maybe people who are very lonely, who are very insecure, the narcissist will play themselves as being the solution to that person's problem. So if somebody's very codependent or insecure, the narcissist can occasionally give that person immense kind of validation, immense focused attention, which means that the narcissist basically makes that person kind of feel uplifted in a sense of being validated. And the narcissist might only ever drop that every now and again. But because that person might never get that, they might all of a sudden feel a strong emotional attachment to the narcissist, thinking, okay, this person's kind of like my master because they have the ability to validate me like few other. Or maybe there's someone who sees the narcissist as having a certain kind of status or profile attached to them that they like, and maybe that person has certain aspects of certain things they feel they're missing in themselves, and the narcissist will come across to that person as somebody who's very, impressive, very, very important to that person's life. And again, the narcissist can give that person just enough of what they feel they're looking for to create that kind of emotional attachment and emotional bond on the narcissist. But basically what we have is the narcissist with, these kind of people they'll give them just enough of whatever goodness they're looking for, whether it's validation, whether it's maybe status by association, maybe it's just, I don't know, attention of other sorts, maybe promises of things they might do for them. There's lots that narcissists can do, and if the target's the right target that the narcissist is looking for, all of a sudden they can create that dependency on them. So when the narcissist kind of plays people in that way and they get them in their kind of gravitational pull, their kind of orbit, the narcissist does not give them too much more. The narcissist knows that people kind of feel this attachment, are kind of always willing to go out of their way to please the narcissist, to go out of their way to give the narcissist attention when they want, to go out of their way to listen to the narcissist sob stories when they have them, to go out of their way to even play the role of flying monkey, if must be. The people in the narcissist orbit play these roles. And that's how the narcissist gets supply from many fronts. They have their main supply, their main kind of romantic supply, who gives them a lot. Their main romantic supply is typically the biggest object of their narcissistic projection, of their kind of negative outlays. But they like all these other supplies and keeping other people in their orbit, each one who does something unique for the narcissist, whether it's giving them the attention they're after, the validation they're after, or even doing the dirty deeds, playing the role of flying monkey. And the way the narcissist keeps those people in the orbit is they'll give them, every now and again, they'll give them just enough of whatever they're after, that they find the narcissist being an important component to them. But obviously the narcissist will only ever give with the intent of reaping more later, and that's exactly what they do. So if you are around a narcissist a lot, you'll eventually realize, you'll eventually start to notice who the people are that kind of orbit them. And the last thing you want to do, in most cases anyway, is tell the people who kind of orbit them their secondary supply sources, if you would. You don't want to badmouth the narcissist. You don't want to go to those people and talk bad about the narcissist to them, because they might become very defensive of the narcissist, because they might feel that they depend on the narcissist for many reasons. But it's interesting to see that, and it is an interesting dynamic, and it's just one of the most important ways that narcissists get the supply that they need, because most people out there won't give them the supply they want. A very, very large percentage of the people out there aren't capable of filling the role that they need. However, there are always a few people out there who have the right profile to kind of match up with what the narcissist is looking for in terms of these secondary supply sources. And when the narcissist sees them, if it's feasible, they'll try to do something or treat them in such a way, such as to get them into the narcissistic orbit. And then the narcissist has this kind of ongoing supply. And obviously, the narcissist will take 90% and give 10% back, take 90% and give 10% back. But it's just the way they go about their lives.